I'm David Norris, and I'm asking for your #1 preference vote in the forthcoming Senate election in the constituency of Dublin University, Trinity College. I'm standing on my record in the 24th Dáil. Since the last election, I had a serious illness. I developed an aggressive cancer which was treated, and I eventually received a liver transplant. But now I'm active and vigorous again and ready for the fray. Even during my illness, I played an active role in the doings of Shannon Éireann. There was, for example, a referendum sponsored by Enda Kenny to abolish the Senate completely. With 2.5 weeks to go, we were losing heavily in the polls. I discharged myself from hospital, and with Senator Sean Barrett and Senator John Crown, we successfully turned it around in 2.5 weeks and saved Shannon Éireann. In the summer of 2014, the world was horrified by the Israeli blitzkrieg on the innocent civilian population of Palestine. I demanded a recall of Shannon Éireann, and I was successful. The Senate met on the 31st of July 2014, and speeches from that meeting went round the world on YouTube. We've had a series of other events of significance. I mean, one thinks, for example, of that marvellous day of the marriage referendum. I laid the foundation for that with my 2004 domestic partnership bill. That was unsuccessful, but put a bomb under government. And what a day we had in the courtyard of Dublin Castle when the Irish people endorsed, as I said on that day, the qualities of liberty, equality, and fraternity. A bill of mine from 2008, the Mental Health Bill, was introduced by the government and passed successfully, and this outlaws involuntary forced ECT. I produced a bill on direct provision that would address all the problems there, including the provision of money, the long delays, the family concerns and problems, and we nearly got it through the Senate, only for the fact that at the last moment, Sinn Féin and their 3 senators jumped ship and voted with the government. I was involved in persuading Michael Noonan to introduce the Living City initiative, even though it has defects. On abortion, I was strong. This is a sensitive issue. It is always a sad business. But I cannot understand the arrogance of third parties who decide that an innocent 13-year-old rape victim should be forced to carry the fetus to term. I cannot understand those who would say that somebody with a fatal fetal abnormality should be forced to continue. Something that has no spinal cord, no nervous system, no brain. How can an outsider determine the fate of this troubled woman? Also in the cases of rape and incest. And I hope and will urge that this matter will be addressed during the forthcoming Shannon. I took up matters on the adjournment. I persuaded the government to accept amendments, and I had an influence on government policy. I used my vote to put an independent member on the banking inquiry in order to ensure that it wouldn't be used solely for government propaganda purposes. In the last few weeks of the Oireachtas, the government tried to rush through 3 very important bills: the Heritage Bill, the Technological Universities Bill, and the Sexual Offences Bill. I was the only voice to challenge these, to critique them, to ask questions about them. That's the importance of an independent voice in the Senate. As a result, these bills have been put on hold so that we can scrutinise them further and introduce better legislation. I'm not a Roman Catholic. I'm a regular churchgoer. I'm a member of the Anglican Communion. But I respect decency, goodness and integrity in international public life, and there's damn little of it. But the new Pope, Pope Francis, is a shining example of this, and I was honoured to pass through the Committee on Procedure and Privileges unanimously and persuade the Senate unanimously to agree to issue an invitation to His Holiness to visit Ireland. This is an important election. Things are confused. There may well be a hung Dáil, and it is quite possible that the independent university senators will hold the balance of power. This makes us of critical importance. It makes your vote of critical importance, and I'm asking it today of you. I'm asking you to vote #1, David Norris, for Shannon Éireann.